Hello there everyone, thanks for joining me once again. This time around I want to tell you up a soft hackle wet fly pattern. It's called the Tups Indispensable. It's quite an old pattern, but it definitely catches fish. And I'm not sure how many of you may have seen this one tied before, but I thought I'd share with you how I put this one together myself. And I'll get him out of the vise, a fresh hook in, and we'll get it going here. The hook is a 3906B mustad, and I'm tying him on a 12. The larger size you can go up to a 10 if you wish. I just chose the 12 for the video this time. And for thread I'm using some yellow danville 6/0, and we'll start right behind the eye like we always do, about a hook eye length. And we'll wrap back here and get a smooth thread base down, touching wraps. Alrighty, snip off our tag end. Now, come back to just about above the barb here. There we go. Now, our tail is simply some light blue done hen hackle fibers off a soft hen hackle cape. And I'll just get a few of those for the tail, not too many. The pattern shows a sparse tail, so I'll stick to the original there for the tail anyhow. So we'll tie those in the length of the shank. Get a little pinch wrap on them there, like so. Then we'll come back a couple wraps, and there's our tail. And we'll wrap forward like so here. Okay, and we'll stop about 3/4 of the way up there. Okay, now the body calls for yellow floss, but to reinforce the yellow floss, the original doesn't call for this, but I'm going to throw in a piece of real fine gold wire here. It's like super fine, you could say, just to help reinforce the floss body, make it a little stronger fly. So I'll catch that in here underneath, and we'll wrap that back to underneath the tail there. Alrighty. And we'll come back up once again to where we stopped before. Now I'll stick that in the old material clip now. Got a piece, so I'm going to use some uni floss here in the yellow, single strand. I'll get a piece of that off here. Okay. So next, we'll tie that in here, just like so. This time I'll tie it in more on my side, or almost on the top of the shank, I guess you could say. Now, I want to try to achieve a smooth underbody for this floss, so I'm going to spin my bobbin counterclockwise and try to smooth out the thread a little bit as I go up here. Let's see how that works out. And give it another little spin. And wrap forward. Another little spin here, and that should do it. Alrighty. That looks pretty good there. It's smooth base for it. Okay. Now we'll begin to wrap our floss here. Alrighty, we'll come around. We all know how tricky floss can be, but we'll do our best here to get a nice smooth body. Looks good so far. The first couple wraps are usually the trickiest until you get it going. Get past the point of the hook. Okay, so we'll wrap that forward. Just like so here. And we're at our tie off point, so we'll tie it off underneath. A couple wraps behind, then we'll tie that down good and snug. And I'll come in and snip off that excess there. Alrighty, a few more securing wraps now. It's time for the tinsel, so the wire rather, and we're just going to counter wrap that with some evenly spaced wraps up the body, and that should help make that floss stay together a lot longer than it originally would without it. The key is good tension as you're wrapping the floss too. You want to keep it nice and tight. fold that wire back. Alrighty, so now we'll give it a little spin. There we go. Alright folks, we're this far now. We just need our little pink thorax, and I have some pink hairline, just plain rabbit dubbing here. So I'll get a little bit of wax on our thread here. And we'll get a little noodle going. Don't want too thick a noodle on here, but I want to form a nice little round thorax there. You may not get in on the first shot, but it's always easier to add dubbing than to remove it, as we know. Alright, so let's start to form that little thorax here. Alright, just a tad bit more should be fine. This time I'm just going to give it a nice tight spin on the thread here. And that's plenty, folks. Okay, so there's our little thorax. Now, the last step of the fly is the hackle collar in the front, and that is the same as the tail. So I have a blue done hen hackle here ready to tie in. Got the tip exposed there, and we'll tie that in by the tip. So place that on top of here and behind the eye. Catch that in. Then I'm going to also fold it back with a couple wraps, and I'm going to try to sneak in there if I can get a hold of it. If not, I'll trim it and just give it a little pull like so. Sometimes you can get that, and other times it doesn't work out so well. You have to snip it, but that time it did. Okay, so I'll grab a hold of that, the other end here, the stem, with my little plunger pliers. I find these great for doing soft tackles, but if you don't have them, regular pliers will do just as well. Just find these easier to grip the little stems. Now we'll come around and get our wraps going here, one right in front of the next. Just like so, folks. And we're probably going to use all the hackle here, which we did. Now I'll come up around with a couple wraps on the stem there. A couple in front. Release my pliers. Okay, now I'm just going to check it here. It looks good. I'm going to stroke everything back, and we're going to lock that stem back in place there with a few wraps. Then I'll just reach in. You can and give them a little pull, or you can snip them out if you wish. Just like so. I just give them a little pull. Alrighty, we're pretty much done. Just got to do our whip finish now. So, I'll come in with my whip finisher and get 4 or 5 turns on this guy. Okay. That's fine. There we go. Snug it down. Trim the excess thread. And there she be. Another size 12 Tups Indispensable soft tackle. I say it's an old pattern. It's been around for a long time. It's in a lot of different books, and I think there's also a dry fly version as well. So one last step I'll do is just put a little head spin on the thread wraps, just a tiny drop. Let that soak down in there. There we go. And he's a done deal. There we go. So anyway, like always, I want to thank you all very much for watching my videos, and if you'd like to see more flies in the future, go ahead and hit that good old subscribe button. I always appreciate that, for sure. And throw in a like too if you wish, and if you have any comments, throw them down below too in the comments there. I'd love to read them. So, until next time everyone, happy tying out there. We shall see you all again soon. And so long for now, folks.